Hey girlfriends, this is Angela Jordan Perry, a girlfriend's guide to homeschooling, and I got to get myself all together, excuse me. So, all right, we're going to give this another try with our interviewee on here today. And hey, three's a charm. Three's a charm. So let's see how things work out now this time around. You all, thanks for joining in. Y'all come on in and let us know where you're coming from, where you're viewing us from. It appears that maybe Facebook was having some issues to just a little while be cleared up. We shall see. Hello. All right, here we are. All right, let's see if we can do this. Let's see if we can rock and roll it, girl. All right, so evidently, as soon as we were about to go live, Facebook had a hiccup, a major hiccup. So I'm going to let you know when I share it, and we're going to make this happen, because that's what we do. We make it happen. Woohoo! That's all I can say, you all. So, all right, thanks for joining in, Muffy and LaShonda. If you all hit the share button, you all go ahead and share this onto your page, all right? Because every girlfriend need to know about Girlfriend's Guide to Homeschooling with Andrew Jordan Perry and this interview with Kristine Waters. Why I say Kristine Rivers? Who is that? That's my cousin's name, Kristine Rivers. Kristine Waters. So you all, hey, do what you do. Hit the share button on the bottom. Go ahead and share it. And as soon as I'm done here. All right, it's shared. Hi, Delencio, welcome. Hi, Diamond. Hi, Muffy. Hi, Kristine. That's Kristine and LaShonda. You all welcome. Be sure to hit the share button so that other girlfriends who are homeschooling of the African Homeschooling Diaspora will see this interview this evening. Okay? Okay. Thank you. Appreciate it. And we're going to get started. Let me know when you've shared it and we'll get going.
I have shared.
All right. So let's go. 3, 2, 1. Girlfriend's Guide to Homeschooling. I am turned up for this evening's interview. Yes, 3 is a charm. I want to tell you. So we have a wonderful interview planned. I am so tired. I'm a little bit delirious. So if I just kind of act crazy, Kristine, bear with me. Okay, it's just sleepy. It's sleepy energy. That's all I can say. But listen, girlfriends, let me let you know who this is, what this platform is. If you're seeing these 2 melanated women pop up in your Facebook news feed, let me tell you who we are. This is Girlfriends' Guide to Homeschooling with Andrew Jordan Perry, and I am the host of the show, Angela Jordan Perry. I'm a homeschooling mom of 8 children now for 18 years. We make our home in the northwest part of the state of South Carolina, where we are self-sustaining farmers, recently gone vegan. So how does that work? I don't know, but yeah. So the rest of my family are not vegan, but so anyway, that's a little bit about me. My purpose-driven life is to make a positive impact on thousands of homeschoolers worldwide. This platform is for the African homeschooling diaspora, okay, and those who are marginalized homeschoolers. Homeschooling. All right. So without further ado, you interview. So, hey.
Hello.
Hey, girl. Are you ready to make it happen?
I'm ready.
All right. Well, let me tell you a little bit about Kristine, okay, girlfriends? Kristine Bradshaw-Waters is a wife and mother of 4 children, ages 14, 11, 3, and 2 months old. She has been homeschooling for 9 years. In addition to homeschooling, she is part owner of Graffight Photography. Hopefully I said that, Graffight.
Graphite.
Yeah, there we go. Graffight Photography with her husband, Robert Waters. run as a family business that they use to teach their children entrepreneurial skills. Kristine is also a fledgling clothing designer and teacher of clothing construction and design. Her philosophy is for education. Her philosophy for education is one of intrinsic motivation. If children are self-motivated and have a vested interest in self-education, then the learning is second nature and doesn't have to be forced. So she'll tell us a little bit more about that tonight too, okay? So Kristine considers homeschooling a lifestyle and not a daily task. She feels that traditional schooling doesn't allow for this method of learning, and that's why she chose to start homeschooling. You can see more of her sporadic blog posts. I have her information there in the show notes. Her post is Those Girls, That Boy. And then also she has Paid with Good Intention. So find her podcast information in the show notes and get connected. So Kristine, I had just told the girlfriends a little bit about you. Please tell us more about yourself and how you actually got started in homeschooling.
Okay, we got started when my oldest was just finishing pre-K. We had an absolutely horrible experience, one of which she was just basically bullied by her teacher for being too smart. And when we started to look for schools to send her to kindergarten, it was kind of like always up in the air of whether or not we would get a good teacher this year, or maybe we would next year, or would they be able to work with her? Do they have gifted programs? And so I thought about homeschooling a long time ago when she was maybe like 3 or 4, and my husband was like, no, we don't do that. Black people don't do that. And so, I kind of put the idea aside, but then when she was having so much trouble, we kind of revisited the idea and we decided that that's what we would do. And she's never been to school since, and neither of my other children have been to school either.
Okay, gotcha. So your basic why was just to rescue her out of this bullying situation from the teacher. Was that your why? Is that still holds true to be your why of homeschooling?
So it is, but we've added to the why. Anybody who knows me knows that education is important for me, but education is important in terms of learning how to learn so that you can be successful later on in life. Because once you learn how to learn, you can apply that to anything. And also that if you're not motivated to learn something, you're not going to do it. I saw that firsthand, even with my now 14-year-old who, if she doesn't want to do it, she's not going to do it. And there's nothing that we can make her do because she's figured out that she is her own person. But we've also decided that the government system of schooling doesn't work as is right now. Maybe they can change it, but that's not my goal. I would not like to be involved in trying to change the system. What I want to do is make it better for my children and anybody else who's willing to remove themselves from the system to take their children's education on for themselves.
Yeah, I hear you completely. I fully understand that. One of the things you got to explain, what does this look like when you says if children are self-motivated and have a vested interest in self-education, then the learning is second nature and doesn't have to be forced. What did you do? How did you find that out? What made that light bulb come on for you in this? How many years you've been schooling now? How many years is it?
I guess it will be, what are we like at 9 now? That's loud. Sorry, guys. Yeah, it'll be 9 years now. So when we first started homeschooling, I took that idea of traditional schooling and just brought it home. And so I wanted to find a curriculum and I wanted to follow it because I wanted to be sure that this super bright child wouldn't be left behind because her imperfect mother, decided to, homeschool her. So I bought a curriculum, a really well-known curriculum, and on paper it was good. But then when we tried to apply it, she was not having it. Her idea was that if I already know how to do something, you're not going to make me keep on proving to you that I know how to do it. So I spent the entire kindergarten year just basically crying my eyes out because I thought I was ruining my child because she just would not cooperate at all. And then, but what I found out was that when we would go to the library and she would seek out books on her own, when it was something that she was super interested in, for example, she loves to cook, and she would take out cookbooks and she would ask me questions like, well, Mom, what's 1/4 and how do you determine that? And it would just spark conversations, and she would remember that stuff. She would retain that stuff. She would catch hold of it and just run with it. So that idea, I mean, but it works really with us as adults too. When we're, working a 9 to 5 and we have to learn something specifically for work, we drag our feet with it. But when it's something that we want to do on our own, we'll, we'll take it and do with it, what we want. But it also, I saw it even in my youngest daughter, who I would want to sit down and teach her how to read, and she would not. She would just not. That there was no other way to describe it. She would cross her arms, she would close her eyes, she would plug her ears. She just would not have it. But then once we kind of relaxed and just read to her, I found that she could catch on that way much easier. And she would ask what this word means, or what does this say, or you know. But her thing was also like with math too, and she would say, "Mom, I have one of these, and I have another one of these, and now I have two of these." It was her idea to learn. So, and once you do that, you can't really take that away from somebody. Once they get it in their mind that they want to do it, you can't take that away. And it's a sense of pride, a source of pride, and a reason to keep going.
That's it. And I love that. It's self-motivated education. So, do you have any insights for someone who says, "Hey, my child is not motivated about anything"? They're, I always used to say, because I have my older four children, I have one boy, number two, and this is not true for all of them, but I say this for my boy. He'll be 20 soon. But when he was little, he was like, "I'm just happy to sit in my poopy pamper. Just leave me and my poopy pamper, warm pamper, all by myself. I'm okay. Don't mess with me. I'm good." Like he is just that kid who's like, "I can be satisfied with the simplest of things. Just leave me be." So how do you motivate that child?
So after tearing my hair out the first year, I, would go online and I would like seek information from moms who had been doing this on chat, in chat groups and things like that. And I would just say, "I don't know what I'm doing. She's never going to learn anything." And they would always try to say, "Well, just keep trying and be consistent." And none of that was working until one mom told me, "Well, listen, they don't go to college unpotty trained." And I was like, "What?" And she said, "Let them do what comes natural to them, and they will come around. If you stop pressuring them, if you let them come to you, it will all work out. No, they won't sleep with you they won't sleep in the bed with you forever. They'll learn how to potty train eventually, and they will learn how to tie their shoes. Just, just take it easy." I mean, and that wasn't always easy for me though, because I am super type A.
Yeah.
Whereas my children are not. So you have to learn how to let go. and realize that even though they are a reflection of you, they are not you, and you can't do it for them. And eventually they're going to go out into the world and have to figure it out. Um, but you know, they won't starve.
You're right.
They won't starve. So
You're right. You all, that's good stuff. Go back and listen to that again. And that is so true. Your kids, that became my saying. My kids will not go off to college not potty trained. So I don't know if I've been talking to that lady, if she's been talking to us, but that would be what I would say. But when it comes to home education, educating our children, we don't have that mindset. Like, they are not going to go off to high school and not know how to count. They're not going to. And I think the biggest thing is that we are so ingrained in our brains to follow these stipulations. By this age I got to do this, by this age I got to do this, and by this and this and this and this, instead of letting them be and organically learn. And
right, they're going to be who they're going to be, regardless of the amount of meddling we do or don't do.
ding 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 ding, yes. I've learned that out, I figured that out, having 3 adult children. But it's so true. So you all, that is worth its weight in gold. You all hold on to that. If you don't take anything else, I don't know what else Kristine may say, but so far that was a huge bomb she just dropped on you all. So that was great. So Kristine, tell us, how was it when you first got started your homeschooling journey? What did that look like? I mean, you gave us a little idea. You tried to bring the school into your home, and that you saw that wasn't working. But walk us through, what did that look like, the start of your schooling?
So it was like desks and chalkboard and notebooks, and it was everything that you would have in a school except for a locker and a cafeteria. Um, and I think it was probably day one that I realized that we had to change. Also, I want to say that another part of my reluctance to let go was I had spent money on that curriculum. I had spent a lot of money and a lot of time trying to gather all of the pieces together to, buy it as cheaply as possible. But even then, it was still expensive, and I had a hard time letting go of that as well. But in the grand scheme of things, that amount of money isn't worth the stress and the strife, and sometimes the breakdown of your relationship between you and your kids, of you trying to force something that's never going to work because of a financial situation. If worse comes to worse, sell it before break your relationship with your child trying to keep going with it. But we really did, like, sit there, in front of her at a chalkboard trying to teach her things. And then slowly but surely we moved to, how about we just sit here and read? You like to listen to the stories. How about we just sit here and read together? And then it went to, well, let's go to the library and check out some books and some things that you're interested in. And eventually it evolved to what we have now is we meet every year at the end of our school year. We school year round. Okay. So what that looks like is at the mid or end of August, we come together and we have a meeting. Okay, what did you learn this year? What worked for you? What didn't work for you? What do you want to continue? What would you like to learn next year? And we make a list of goals, not only educational goals, but also personal. For my daughters, they both, one dances and the other does musical theater, ballet and musical theater. And so, what do you want to accomplish in those classes during the year? How would you like to grow spiritually this year? We take a holistic approach to it, because in real life, that's how you have to look at your life. You can't just take it in pieces. So we try to, look at education holistically. So we make that list and we sit down and we make a plan, but knowing that plans change. And sometimes, you'll dive into something and you'll find that you want to dive in more and something else might have to come off the table, but also realizing that you can't do it all the time, and it's okay, to let things go for the next year. I will also say that we do spend at least a little bit of our day doing specific things that I think are just are important in terms of, like, we do math every day in a specific way because math is a use it or lose it skill. If you're not practicing certain things, you'll forget about it. So, we kind of do a little bit of math every day. I make sure that they read every day. But my basics are, if they can write, if they can write well enough to communicate their points, if they can speak well enough to communicate their points, if they can compute, if they can add, subtract, multiply, and divide, everything else is gravy. Everything else is extra. Because who cares if you can recite all of the presidents if you don't know how to read? You know,
Yeah.
you know, who cares if you know when the dinosaurs were extinct if you don't know how to add, subtract, multiply, and divide. So those things are important to us, but everything after that is kind of just gravy. So our first few years are trying to teach them the basics, but after that, it's kind of, I don't want to say free for all, but it kind of is.
Gotcha. Let's see. Silly Rent says, laugh out loud. She's still working on letting go. And then
Yeah, yeah.
Ellie Wright Ellis, she says, you are a great homeschooling teacher, mom. So proud of you, Aunt Ellie. Yeah, very sweet. So, with that in mind, everything you said is just good nuggets. This is good nuggets, you all. Very, 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 very good nuggets, especially anywhere you are in your journey. If you're at the beginning or considering starting, what Kristine is saying right here, this is good stuff, really good. So, Kristine, take us to, this is one of my favorite questions. Take us to your worst day of homeschooling. Okay. The day that was so bad that you really considered, like, I'm done. I'm not cut out for this. I can't do this. I'm over it. I'm sending them somewhere. I don't know. I just quit. But of course you didn't quit. And, this is why you're this very wise homeschooling mom that you are today. Take us to that moment, that day.
So I think that happened very recently, only because personally, and I'm going to share this with you all, even if my parents are watching us online. They are both sick. They both have terminal cancer. So we went from one year, my mom being sick and us not knowing why, and spending almost an entire year in and out of the hospital with her, sitting in waiting rooms, and to find out, her diagnosis, and things getting a little smoother, only to then turn around and find out that my dad was sick. So it was like we kind of didn't get a break. And so then that following year, taking him to and from all of his appointments, and it came time for the end of last year. And when you have to get all that paperwork in and you have to get your evaluation, and I had absolutely nothing to show for that year. And I was a nervous wreck because it was a testing year. Here in Pennsylvania, the kids don't have to test every year, only specific years. And it was a testing year for both of them. And I was just so nervous and just like heartbroken, like, oh my God, I don't even know if my kids even learned anything this year, because I was kind of so disconnected from them learning. And I think it was the day before I paid for their achievement test, and I told my husband, I was like, we can't do this anymore. We can't do it. I have my friends and family telling me that maybe this is something we can't do this year, and and my kids they're suffering because they're in and out of sitting in hospital waiting rooms. I don't think we can do this anymore. And my husband was like, it'll be okay. It'll be okay. But I didn't think it was going to be okay because all I could think about was I'm going to be an orphan. Both of my parents are going to be gone and I'll have nothing and my kids will have not learned anything and they'll be stupid and they won't be able to go to college or, do any of the things that they dream of doing. And, he was just like, it'll be okay. And I was just like, you know nothing, man. You know nothing. And I remember just like making up in my mind that, maybe they will go to school next year. Maybe, it is time to let this go because my idea was always that we would homeschool and do it until it stopped working. And clearly it wasn't working. But they took those tests and it turned out that they were far beyond where I expected them to be. They knew things that I didn't think that they knew. But they surprise me with that sort of thing all the time. So I should have known better. I should have trusted them. I should have trusted God. I should have trusted the process. But it was just overwhelming at that point. So, but we're here now. We're still going.
Beautiful, beautiful, beautiful. That's very heartwarming. Kudos to you. Kudos to your kids. That's beautiful. And for your parents, wish them all the best, and that they find healing and strength for this journey. So, take us to your most memorable day of homeschooling, Kristine, where maybe that was it, but a day that just warmed your heart so much and you're like, this right here is why we homeschool, and I do it 1,000 times over for this moment right here.
I think that had to be very early on with my oldest, who is a character. She could read at an early age, not for my trying, but because she's like the smartest kid I've ever met, and she learned how to read on her own. It was like one day she woke up and she could read, and I thought that she could just read simple things, but she picked up a book off of my shelves because we have a massive library, and she picked up Charlotte's Web, and I was like, you're not really reading that. And then she proceeds to tell me every single detail that had ever happened in the book, things that I didn't even know happened or remembered, and I had to go back and look. And then, I started quizzing her. Okay, so what happened then? You're not really, it was okay, fine then. What happened then? And she just proceeded to tell me. She's like, no, the rat's name isn't this, it's Templeton. And I'm like, okay, clearly this is working. Clearly we're on the right track with her. So I think that kind of made it easier too for us to continue because we had success very early on, and some not success.
Yeah. It's a kudos. Let me tell you. Let's see. We have Diamond. Diamond says it's wonderful to see other mothers woke. Thank you. Thank you for your encouragement and story. In 2015, my grandmother passed of cancer. If I knew that she could be healed, I'm trying to get the whole thing. Let's see if I can move it up. If I knew that she could be healed, it's not going to let me see it all. I'm sorry. Oh, let's see over here. I want to read that. Hold on. She says, let's try that again. She says, it's wonderful to see other mothers woke. Thank you for your encouragement and story. In 2015, my grandmother passed of cancer. If I knew that she could be healed through food, which I recently found out, there's a cure for everything. Keep up the good work, ladies. We must be our own teachers and doctors. So, very good. Thank you for sharing that, Diamond. So yeah, that's amazing to have a little one who just picks up and reading. Girl, that if all of us, I'm sure we wish it was that easy sometimes. Like
yeah, they weren't all that easy.
Okay, so you didn't get off with it. Okay.
That 2-year-old, I don't know about him. He's probably not going to learn how to read ever because he's a boy.
Okay, all right. So good. You don't get a ticket to perfect. I'm glad to hear that. Hey, very good. All right. So, all right, girlfriends, let you know what's going on. This is Girlfriends' Guide to Homeschooling with Angela Jordan Perry, and I am here with Kristine Waters from Pennsylvania. This amazing, she's a very wise homeschool mom. I'm just going to tell you right now, very wise. So you all going to want to hit the replay. If you all just take a moment right now, the share button is on the bottom. go ahead and hit the share button and share this out to your Facebook page. You just never know
I
who may
think
be
I
considering
lost you.
homeschooling, or I can still see you, Kristine, so I'm not sure how you lost me, but you never know who may be considering homeschooling or who is homeschooling and needs some encouragement. Okay, so be sure to hit the share button. All right, so let's see. Kristine says she lost us, but we can see you, Kristine. Can you hear me? Let's see if we got her.
Oh, wait, I got you.
Okay, very good. Yay. All right, well, this part of the show, Kristine, is where I ask you some questions. Thank you all for the love, the hearts. Give some thumbs up. If this is your first time seeing Girlfriend's Guide to Homeschool, put a 1. Drop a 1 down below. If you have seen this before and you're like, I'm back for another interview, hit number 2, put a 2 below. So that just give us some idea of our audience. 1, if you've never seen this before, this is your first time, and put a 2 below if you have seen this before and you're just coming back because this is what you do. You enjoy these interviews. All right. Thank you, Becky. All right. So this part of the show, Kristine, is some quick questions to pick your brain. You can give 1 or 2 sentence answers, just to, get your thoughts on some things. So tell us, what is your favorite quote that helps you through this homeschooling journey, Kristine?
I don't think I have a quote, but the thing that helps me is to say Jesus. Because I have to, like, it helps me to take a breath and remember who I am, whose I am, and why I'm doing what I'm doing. So it kind of just, gives me, a center, or to the scripture about God not giving us the spirit of fear, which I cannot remember the chapter and verse right now. It just it escapes me. But I say that often because I'm most of the time, anytime when I'm not doing what I'm supposed to do, it's because of fear. So if I remember that that's not what I was made for, then I can calm myself and continue to
Got,
move on.
gotcha. Do you plan to homeschool all the way through the end
Yes.
with all of them?
Yes.
What is something that the Waters family do? Your creative thing that makes this unique thing you all do day to day in your homeschooling, that, just the Waters homeschool thing.
We are photographers. We run a business and we run it with our children so that they can learn that you don't have to work for somebody else in order to be successful. So yeah, that's what we do.
Good deal. What is the best piece of advice you've received since you've been on this homeschooling journey?
Is that kids won't go to school and go off to college unpotty trained. They won't always sleep in the bed with you, and that the time really does go quickly. So make sure you're paying attention.
Yes. Do you have a favorite resource or tool or online resource or app that you use in your homeschooling?
Um, we use a lot of YouTube. YouTube is a really good teacher. You can find out how to do mostly anything on YouTube.
Yep. Do you have a favorite book you want to recommend to the girls, the girlfriends, for homeschooling or just in life, or something that has shown itself to be very valuable to you in this journey?
Um, and I wrote this down, and of course, I didn't write it down. I typed it on my computer, and of course, my computer is not being cooperative. But I think the book is by Daniel Goleman, and it's called Emotional Intelligence. And it's basically talks about how to make sure that your kids are grounded emotionally, because if they're grounded emotionally, then they could learn how to handle things in life. It's a really good book. It was recommended to me by my first pediatrician, and I recommend it to every parent I meet who we have a conversation about parenting.
Good deal. Well, here's the last question, the $1,000,000 question. Are you ready, Kristine?
I'm ready.
All right. So, Kristine, if you had to start all over again to the first day of homeschooling, but your current wisdom, your current knowledge, skills, convictions, your insights, what would be the first thing you'd be sure to change this time around, or something you'd be sure to implement in your homeschooling journey this time around?
I would start with journaling and journaling and keeping a calendar, so that my kids can learn time management early. I feel like that's a skill that a lot of people, including myself, are lacking. So if I could teach them that skill, how to budget time, I would have done that earlier and not have bought that expensive curriculum that I regret buying to this day, that I still own, because I can't let go of the fact that I spent so much money on it. Maybe it'll work with one of these kids that I have.
Yeah, I hear you. I hear you. Very good, Kristine. Listen, do you have any last words of advice for the girlfriends here? Three things. One, any last words of advice for the girlfriends here? Number two, how can they get in contact with you if they have more questions, they want to continue this conversation with you? And then number three, what do you have your hands in that you'd like for this village to come around and support your efforts in as one of our girlfriends?
Okay, the first would be to remember that even with all the advice that people give, you have to make sure that it works for your family. If it doesn't work, if it doesn't apply, it is okay to let it go and do what's best for you, your children, your family. Um, well, I'm sorry, what was your second question?
Yeah, how can they get in contact with you if they want to continue the conversation?
Um, I am on the Facebook as Kristine Waters. You can always send me a private message. I answer them. I'm always awake, especially now since I have this 2-month-old who is nursing constantly. You can also reach me on, I have two blogs. One is Paved with Good Intentions. It's www.procrastinatornomore.blogspot.com. That's long, right? Also, and that's where I talk about how to be a productive human being. And you will notice that I only have two blogs on there because I have not learned that skill yet. The second is Those Boys That Girl .blogspot.com. That one is where we talk about our homeschooling journey, and that has a little bit more content on there because I find it easier to talk about the things that we are doing as opposed to the things that I need to be doing. And then also our family, our business website is graphitephotography.com. And currently, this is new news for us, we have officially taken over the lease on our studio. So this is our studio. It's called oh my goodness, I just lost my brain. It's called Catalyst Photography Collective, and we're on Facebook there as well. Yeah, so we just signed the lease for this place. This studio is all ours. We are accepting members here in Pittsburgh who would like to have a studio space that they could rent. Also, if you need pictures, if you need video, we do that too. But yeah, we're really excited about this brand new studio space that we're trying to now get together and renovate, and so we can do more things with our photography. So we're excited.
Good deal. Good deal. All right, we're girlfriends. Let me let you know that you are the average of the 5 people you hang out with. And this past hour, you have been hanging out with Kristine Waters, not Rivers. Kristine Waters. I'm sorry, my cousin's name is Rivers. But this is Kristine Waters out of Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania. So you all keep up the momentum and, continue to connect with positive people who's going to bring this positive influence into your life as Kristine has this hour. You all hit the replay button, hit share and get this shared out to other girlfriends who need to hear this content and get some encouragement, some insight, some straight thinking, and, you know, relieve some baggage that they have in their homeschooling journey. Because Kristine really put it down and gave some great nuggets, you know, no jokes, all jokes aside, she put some great nuggets out there that if I had that knowledge when I first started homeschooling, my journey would have been just a little bit more sweeter than what it was. Okay. So thank you, Kristine. I just want to let you know that Girlfriends Guide to Homeschooling appreciates you. I'm grateful to you for paying it forward and giving up your time, your knowledge, and your wisdom to this African homeschooling diaspora. So thank you so much. And
thank you for having me.
yes, we endured it and got it done. So thank you, thank you. But girlfriends, thank you so much for joining in this evening. Again, I'm your host, Angela Jordan Perry. Connect here on Girlfriends Guide. And now go over and hop on over to Educating Our Own Now Facebook page. That's a new platform that's coming out. So all of you who are wanting to start homeschooling, all of you who are already starting homeschooling, it's like, I don't know what to do. What to do. That's going to give you all your A through Z of homeschooling. We're going to have village elders who's going to pour into you so that you can be well prepared. That's exciting. You all get ready. Release date is Sunday. All right, so I love you all. Thank you so much. Peace to everyone. And you all go get a hearty laugh on today before this day ends, because your soul will thank you for laughing today. Okay? All right. All right, Kristine, we'll see you later. You all take care. Peace, everybody.